Every woman who has ever tried to truly understand a man has at some point felt the profound confusion of dealing with two different people inhabiting the same body. The first is the man who speaks. He is the conscious mind, the ego, the king in his castle. His words are often controlled, measured, logical. He may speak of casual interest, of uncertainty, of not being ready. He presents a calm and rational facade to the world, a curated story that he is in complete control of. This is the man you hear, but then there is the second man. This man does not speak in words. He is the unconscious, the primal, the soul. He speaks a much older and more truthful language, the language of the body. And this man, the one who lives beneath the surface, often tells a completely different story. His words may say, "I'm not sure," but his body unconsciously orients itself toward you in a crowded room. His mouth may say, "We're just friends," but his eyes hold your gaze a second too long with an intensity that feels anything but friendly. This is the source of the silent madness so many women feel. You are not going crazy. You are not imagining things. You are perceiving a profound truth. His body is telling a different story than his mouth. You are witnessing the dissonance between his controlled ego and the undeniable truth of his soul. But what if you could learn to trust that second conversation? What if you could learn to tune out the confusing noise of his words and become fluent in the clear, honest language of his involuntary actions? This video is your translation guide to that silent language. We will teach you how to stop listening to the carefully crafted script of his conscious mind and start reading the undeniable, involuntary confessions of his unconscious body. We will move beyond generic body language tips and into the deep psychology of the tells he cannot hide. We will reveal the specific, subtle, and often paradoxical signs that expose the very feelings he is trying so desperately to conceal, giving you the clarity you need to finally understand what is truly happening in his heart. Before we can learn to read his body's secret language, we must first ask a fundamental question. Why is the language secret in the first place? Why can't he just say what he feels? To the feminine soul, which often experiences emotion as its native tongue, this can be the most confusing part of the entire dynamic. The answer is not simple, and it is rarely born of malice. It is a complex web of conditioning, fear, and a profound misunderstanding of the nature of power. The first and most powerful reason is the deep archetypal fear of vulnerability. For many men, the world has been a battlefield from a very young age. They were taught that to be a man is to be strong, to be invulnerable, to be a knight in shining armor. Their armor is their logic, their competence, their ability to remain unshaken, and they have learned that this armor is what keeps them safe. To confess a deep feeling, to admit that a woman's presence has a profound effect on him, is to willingly remove a piece of that armor. It is to expose his soft underbelly to a world he has been taught is dangerous. His silence is not a rejection of you. It is a desperate attempt to keep his own armor intact. He is not hiding his feelings from you. He is hiding his perceived weakness from the world. The second reason is the profound fear of rejection, which is experienced differently by the masculine psyche. While all humans fear rejection, for the masculine ego, which is often conditioned to be the pursuer, the one who strives to win, rejection is not just a personal hurt. It can be experienced as a mission failure. He is playing a high-stakes game. To lay his feelings on the table is to push all of his chips to the center. If you do not feel the same, he does not just lose the connection. In his mind, he has lost the game. For a man whose sense of worth is tied to his competence and his ability to succeed, this potential failure can be so terrifying that it feels safer to never play the hand at all. His hiding is a strategy to avoid a perceived loss. The third, and most subtle reason, is the fear of losing control. Feelings, especially the profound and overwhelming feelings of deep love, are the domain of the soul, of Eros. They are chaotic, unpredictable, and gloriously illogical. A man who has built his identity on the foundation of logos, of logic, reason, and control, sees his own deep feelings as a threat. They are a tidal wave that he fears could sweep him away from the solid ground of his plans, his ambitions, his carefully constructed world. He fears that if he surrenders to the feeling, he will be consumed by it, that he will become weak, irrational, and no longer the king of his own castle. Hiding his feelings is a desperate attempt to maintain control, not over you, but over the terrifyingly beautiful storm that is awakening within himself. Understanding this is an act of profound compassion. It allows you to depersonalize his behavior. His distance is not a measure of your worth. His silence is not a verdict on your desirability. They are the symptoms of his own inner conflict. He is not at war with you. He is at war with his own armor. And it is in the cracks of that very armor that his body begins to tell the truth his mouth cannot. Now that we understand the inner war he is fighting, we can begin to decode the signals that escape from the battlefield. The first and most common involuntary tell is not a grand action, but a fleeting two-part event that happens in his eyes. We call it the gaze of interrupted longing. Common wisdom tells us that a man who is interested will hold a long, steady gaze, and while that is often true for a man who is consciously pursuing, the man who is hiding his feelings reveals his truth in a much more paradoxical way. The secret sign is not a steady gaze. It is a moment of profound, vulnerable, and intense eye contact that is abruptly and awkwardly broken the very instant he realizes you have seen it. Let us paint the scene. You are in a normal conversation. He is wearing his social mask, his armor. He is calm, logical, perhaps even a little distant. But then, for a split second, something shifts. His guard drops, and he looks at you, and in that moment, it is not his ego that is looking at you. It is his soul. The gaze is no longer casual. It is filled with a deep, soft, almost sorrowful longing. It is a look that says everything his words are too afraid to say. It is a moment of pure, unfiltered connection. And then, just as you register the depth of this look, it vanishes. He will break eye contact suddenly, as if he has been electrocuted. He might clear his throat, look down at his hands, or immediately ask a trivial question to change the subject. The warmth is gone, the armor is back up, and you are left wondering if you imagined the whole thing. You did not. What you have just witnessed is a profound psychological drama playing out in a single second. The first part of the gaze, the deep, soulful longing, is his anima, the ambassador of his soul, making a daring escape. It is the prisoner, his true feelings, momentarily appearing at the window of his eyes. It is the truth of his heart leaking out, bypassing the warden of his conscious mind. The second part, the abrupt breaking of contact, is the panicked reaction of his ego. The king, the prison guard, has just realized a prisoner is escaping. His conscious mind, with all its fears of vulnerability and rejection, rushes in to slam the door shut. It yanks the prisoner back into the cell and pretends nothing has happened. This is the involuntary confession. The longing was the truth. The awkward retraction was the proof that the truth is something he is terrified of. A man who feels nothing for you has no reason to abruptly break eye contact. He can hold your gaze casually all day. It is only the man who has accidentally revealed too much of his soul who will panic and look away. Do not be fooled by the second half of the signal. Do not mistake his fear for a lack of feeling. The gaze of interrupted longing is one of the most reliable signs that his feelings for you are far deeper and far more frightening to him than he is ready to admit. The second involuntary tell is a paradox of energy. While the first was a fleeting moment of intense connection, this one is about the complete cessation of movement. The secret sign is the stillness of unconscious focus. To understand this, we must first recognize our normal state of being. In any given situation, especially a social one, our awareness is diffused. We are a rippling pond. A thought about work creates a ripple. A glance at our phone creates another. A memory, a plan, a subtle insecurity. Each one creates a small disturbance on the surface of our attention. We may be listening, but a part of our energy is always scattered. This is the normal state of the conscious ego, managing multiple streams of data at once. A man who is hiding his feelings will often amplify this scattered energy. He will make a conscious effort to appear casual, distracted, and disengaged. He might fidget with his keys, bounce his leg, or actively talk to other people in the room, all in an attempt to signal both to you and to himself that you are not the most important thing on his radar. And then you speak, and the ripples stop. The pond freezes into a perfect glassy mirror. This is the tell. It is the moment when all of his unconscious scattered movements suddenly cease. The pen he was clicking goes silent. The leg he was bouncing freezes mid-air. The phone he was subtly glancing at is forgotten. He may not even turn to look at you, but if you watch his body, you will see a profound and sudden stillness. This is not a conscious decision to pay attention. It is an involuntary cessation of all other non-essential mental and physical activity. His entire psyche has been hijacked by a single directive from his soul. Listen, she is speaking. You may also notice this in his physical orientation. In a group setting, he may be engaged in a conversation with someone else, but you will notice that his feet or his torso are subtly angled in your direction. His body's compass is pointing toward his true north, even while his conscious mind is trying to navigate a different map. It is crucial to differentiate this from polite listening. Polite listening is still active. There are head nods, verbal affirmations, and a conscious effort to engage. The stillness of unconscious focus is different. It is a state of complete and total absorption. It is almost a trance. He has stopped performing the act of listening and has simply become a receptive field for your presence. What does this mean? It means that his unconscious has deemed you and your words so significant that it has commandeered all of his body's available resources. All other programs have been temporarily shut down to direct 100% of his psychic bandwidth to receiving your signal. It is the ultimate unconscious compliment. It is a sign from his body that in that moment, what you are saying and who you are has become the most important event in the room to his soul. The third involuntary tell is a secret that is written not in a single glance or a moment of stillness, but in the repeated and undeniable pattern of his physical movement through space. This is the tell of accidental proximity. A man's conscious mind, his ego, is the master of the things he says and the direct actions he takes. But his unconscious mind, his soul, is the silent navigator of his body. While his ego is busy trying to maintain a safe and casual distance to hide his feelings, his soul is constantly trying to close that very same distance. This creates a fascinating internal tug-of-war that manifests as a series of seemingly coincidental movements. The core concept is this: his body has a magnetic compass, and his soul has already decided that you are true north. His conscious mind may be holding a map that tells him to go east, to talk to other people, or to stay on the other side of the room to appear disinterested. But the deep, magnetic needle of his body's compass is always, stubbornly and quietly, pointing directly at you. And this compass guides his accidental movements. You will see this pattern emerge in social settings. At a party or a gathering, you may notice that no matter where you go, he always seems to end up in your general vicinity. He may not even speak to you. He may be engaged in a completely different conversation, but when you look up, you will find that he has, over the course of 10 minutes, unconsciously drifted across the room and is now standing within your conversational circle or just behind you. It is as if he is a satellite and your presence is the planet whose gravitational pull he cannot escape. In a more structured setting, like an office meeting or a classroom, watch where he chooses to sit. If the seating is unassigned, a man who is hiding his feelings will rarely choose the seat right next to you, as this would be too obvious a confession. Instead, he will choose the seat one chair away, or the seat directly across the table that gives him a perfect, unobstructed line of sight to you. His conscious mind is choosing a safe distance, but his unconscious mind is choosing the optimal position for observation and connection. This also manifests in the accidental brush. He may walk past you in a narrow hallway, his arm gently brushing against yours. Once is a coincidence, but if you notice it happening repeatedly, understand that his body is using the excuse of a crowded space to create a moment of physical contact that his conscious mind is too afraid to initiate. The key to recognizing this tell is the pattern. It is not about one single moment. It is about the repeated, undeniable, and often slightly awkward way his body seems to find its way back to yours, as if by an invisible thread. His conscious mind would likely deny it if you were to point it out. He would say, "Oh, what a coincidence." But his soul, the silent navigator, knows the truth. It is simply and relentlessly trying to come home. You have now learned to recognize the three great involuntary tells: the gaze of interrupted longing, the stillness of unconscious focus, and the pattern of accidental proximity. You have been given the keys to a hidden language, but this knowledge comes with a profound responsibility. How you choose to respond to these signals will determine whether you nurture the budding connection or frighten it back into hiding. The woman operating from an unhealed wound, upon seeing these signs, will often make one of two mistakes. The first is the mistake of the prosecutor. She will confront him. She will say, "I saw you looking at me," or "Why do you always end up standing near me?" She uses her knowledge as evidence in a trial, demanding a confession. This is a fatal error. It is an act of the ego, and it will immediately trigger his ego in defense. You have just taken a sacred, unconscious truth and dragged it into the harsh, analytical light of the conscious mind before it was ready. He will deny it, he will retreat, and the fragile trust will be broken. The second mistake is that of the orphan archetype. Upon seeing a sign of his interest, she will immediately collapse into neediness. She will see his glance as a green light to begin her own pursuit. She will start texting more, demanding more, clinging to the connection. This, too, is a fatal error. It takes the power of her sovereign presence, which is what attracted him in the first place, and immediately surrenders it. The sovereign response, the practice of the truly wise woman, is to do nothing at all. The practice is one of quiet knowing. Think of the involuntary tells he is showing you as a delicate wild creature, a rare bird, a deer, slowly emerging from the dense forest of his unconscious. It is a sign of immense trust. If you make a sudden move, if you shout, if you try to run toward it and capture it, you will only scare the beautiful creature back into the woods, and it may never feel safe enough to emerge again. The sovereign response is to become the calm, quiet observer. When you see one of these signs, you do not react externally. Instead, you simply and quietly receive it. You allow it to be a moment of confirmation for your own intuition. It is a piece of data that you add to the quiet treasury of your own heart. You see the gaze of interrupted longing, and you silently think to yourself, "Ah, there it is. I see you," and you continue your conversation as if nothing has happened. You notice his accidental proximity, and you feel a quiet inner smile, and you continue to engage with the world as you were. Your non-reaction is the most powerful and magnetic response of all. It communicates on a profound energetic level. "I see the truth of your soul, and I am not afraid of it. I will not use it against you. This is a safe space for you to emerge." By not calling out his unconscious confessions, you create the very sanctuary his soul needs to continue revealing itself. You are not playing hard to get. You are demonstrating that you are a woman of immense inner strength, a woman who is so secure in her own knowing that she does not need his verbal confession to validate what she already feels is true. This quiet, knowing confidence is the ultimate attractor, allowing the deep bond to form organically in its own sacred time. Com certeza. Aqui está a conclusão. 7-7 Conclusion. Trusting the unspoken truth. Meta. 600 palavras. We began this journey in the confusing space between a man's controlled words and his unconscious actions. We have learned to decode the involuntary tells of his body, the fleeting glances, the sudden stillness, the magnetic pull of proximity. We have understood that these are not random events, but the unfiltered language of his soul. The final and most empowering truth is this: the goal of learning this silent language is not to gain a secret power over him. It is to reclaim a sacred power within yourself. The purpose of this knowledge is not to catch him in a lie or to force a verbal confession that his ego is not yet ready to give. The true purpose is to validate your own profound intuition. You were not imagining things. You were not crazy. You were all along perceiving a deeper truth. You are reading the language of the soul. This knowledge frees you from the exhausting game of seeking external validation. You no longer need his words to confirm what your body already knows. You can begin to trust your own perception, to stand firmly in the quiet certainty of your own knowing. And from this place of sovereign self-trust, you are truly free. You can make empowered decisions based on the authentic, unspoken truth of the connection, not on the often confusing performance of his words. You can invest your heart in the man whose body and soul are saying yes, even if his lips are still silent. And you can find the strength to walk away from the man whose body language confirms the emptiness that his charming words try to disguise. Your intuition, now armed with this deep understanding, becomes your most reliable guide.